me if you've heard this one before. MicroStrategy is buying some Bitcoin, more Bitcoin, in fact, $209 million worth of Bitcoin to be exact, according to the company. That said, MicroStrategy's Bitcoin buys have been slowing down gradually. It did a couple of big buys when it first began this round, and then it has been sort of slowing down. As you can see there, the purchases were much larger in November, and then they have gotten slower here. But it is still the 8th straight week that it has been doing this. And as we know, the company has no plans to stop this particular strategy of leveraging its balance sheet in order to buy Bitcoin. What's changed is that the stock has started to underperform Bitcoin. For a while there, it was trading at a significant premium, and it still is at a premium if you value its balance sheet versus Bitcoin. However, it's come down pretty sharply from its highs.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see MicroStrategy start to fall off a little bit here. And I think what's interesting to me is the concept that our friend Jared Bilker has brought up multiple times, which is MicroStrategy usually leads Bitcoin on the way up. I have not checked in with him on if it normally leads Bitcoin on the way down as well. But MicroStrategy had started rallying kind of long before the Bitcoin pop, right? MicroStrategy was rallying before the election. Bitcoin had seen a little bit of a move, but really it seemed like part of the Bitcoin rally maybe was already in the MicroStrategy stock. But MicroStrategy is a weird stock that moves on a lot of different things and a lot of options and stuff I know Steve likes, so I'll perhaps yield the floor to him.
I mean, and Bloomberg has been reporting also that certain hedge funds are sort of using MicroStrategy in much more complex algorithmic ways than I can explain.
Well, the way that I would think about MicroStrategy here is it's a leveraged closed-end fund that holds Bitcoin disguised as a software company. So they still have the software company wrapper,
yes.
but essentially their business model is let's issue convertible bonds or let's issue stock to buy Bitcoin.
Yes.
Well, if you're using bonds to buy something, that's buying it on leverage. So it's a leverage play on Bitcoin, which is why it does tend to lead. And quite frankly, among our customers, we see MicroStrategy lead, we see people trade Coinbase, Marathon. So those are all sort of levered to the price of Bitcoin. Marathon being a miner, gold miners are levered to the price of gold. It's just natural. So what you see here, though, with MicroStrategy is they can't stop this strategy. Now, first of all, if somebody's going to pay, if somebody's going to pay me 2 times my net asset value, and it's probably more like 65-70% right now, well, why wouldn't I just keep issuing stock? At 2x and buy the underlying at 1x. It's a money machine until it stops. And obviously that requires, people willing to keep taking on the stock. You can't do that indefinitely because ultimately, maybe they can try to corner the Bitcoin market, and I'm thinking right now of my favorite movie, Trading Places, where, with the orange juice, but it's not exactly the same. But what you're seeing here is, so that's where the strategies come in. So the convertible, if you issue convertible bonds, eventually you do have to get the income and pay that back. So this all, at some point, there feels like there's a natural end to this cycle. I don't know when it is, though, and what it is. But if I'm Michael Saylor, I'm in for a penny, I'm in for a pound. I'm just going to keep doing this because why not?
And he has said very explicitly he's not selling any of it, like ever.
Well, at some point you have to. At some point you got to pay back the convertible bondholders.
Right.
So
the question is how, right? Does somehow the underlying business software company start to throw up more cash, or do you figure out a way to monetize the Bitcoin? That to me is the big question with regards to MicroStrategy, right? Because he's not selling it.
Yep.
What do you do with it?
I mean, perhaps he holds enough of it so that he can lend it out at a higher rate than he has on the convertible bonds, which is all part of the strategy of cornering the market. I don't know, and he's a little bit inscrutable, so I'm not going to. I don't want to just speculate motives on television. That's not good for any of us. But I do think that. It's certainly, this is the kind of thing that Harvard Business School class of 2040 is going to be writing case studies about.
Definitely.
For one way or the other.